Hello everybody, Isabella from Prior Attire here, and just a quick video today, just dealing with a couple of myths that recently has popped up on my Instagram feed. And although they've recently popped up, they are not really, they're quite common myths and quite common preconceptions. So I thought I'd better pop over and explain. I've done a little bit of a reel, but that may be a better thing. Basically, the first one, corsets and how to lace it. Well, there is no prescriptive law how to lace a corset at all. If you look at evidence, sorry, she didn't have my Fitbit. Shit. If you look at evidence, there's plenty of evidence for lacing corsets at the back, and it can be either crisscross or V or all kind of lacing. There are even illustrations showing corset being laced all the way to the back and not with the bunny ears, which is possible. It's not the most comfortable or the most efficient way of getting a corset, but it's possible if you have a maid. But you also can use hooks for lacing. So you can use hooks like these ones that were used for holding the corset laces, as you've seen in my other videos, but also for holding petticoats out of the waist so that you don't have enough bulk. You also have corsets with hooks at the back that basically keep the knot of the lacing below the waistline, so not interfering anywhere there. Now, the myth is never to lace corsets in front or never to waist corset around your waist because it damages the corset. This is very much a modern preconception, and it's been recently sort of raised up by one of the fan whose most credentials was he lives near the museum and owns 4 sewing machines. Can't compete with that. I live miles and miles away from any kind of museum. But still, admittedly, you see a lot of corsets laced at the back, but that is because people had servants and maids or help to lace them into it. If you are not very flexible, fiddling around your back might not work for you, especially if you're older. So if you don't have a maid, so most of the servant girls brought the laces to the front. It also means that the laces are longer, so you have a little bit more flexibility size-wise, but it's just much more comfortable to lace or unlace even during the day. If you have a big dinner, for example, cake or donut or whatever. Very often you can see people even laced, if you don't have a hook, you can just notch it under your corset. The same with the bustle pads or bustles. So the argument that a corset laced this way would get damaged because the cotton would sort of move around. Well, actually, I've been wearing corsets for almost 20 years now. And some of my corsets are like 15 years old and have been worn a lot. And there's absolutely no damage from the lacing, mostly because once it's laced, it stays in place, it doesn't move. And secondly, quality materials underneath. So you have corsets starting fraying everywhere else. I think there's a little video of my old wedding corset. Everywhere else apart from this part. And this one has been worn over the last 8 years, I think quite a lot. There's not the slightest mark on the waist at all. Secondary, that's a very modern preconception. Modern corsets very often have fashion fabric, which is polyester satin or any kind of poly taffeta, and they do get damaged much easily. So the manufacturer will obviously say, do not do that because you will damage it. Fair enough. Remember that in Victorian eras, you have loads of things going on under the waist. So for example, you have your little bustle pad. It has ties to put around the waist. So it doesn't really matter that the corset is laced there. The ties of your bustle pad will go there. Again, you can lace whatever way you want, but again, use the hook. You will need your proper bustle. Again, cotton lacing. And again, it goes over the corset. Cotton on lace. Well, cotton on lace or cotton on silk. And of course you have petticoats that also are hooked underneath that hook, so creating the very same silhouette. So that's not an argument, that's a modern preconception brought about the clothing of the past. So ladies and gentlemen, just lace your corsets in whichever way you want to. There's evidence for both. There's no need to tell other people how to lace their corset, especially if you're not wearing one, or never mind. So yeah, lace it at the side, at the front, at the back, whichever way you want it, whichever way is needed for specific fashion era. If you have 90s, for example, you have quite straight front skirts. You don't really want that bulge here, so then you lace at the back when you have a little pad. For Victorian era, when you have apron skirts, it doesn't matter, it's still underneath the skirt. So, you know, I won't even say anything about it. Well, maybe I will. Fan laced corsets, you have loads of laces going over the side of the corset, no damage. So that's a very, very modern preconception. So I think we can, you know, put it quite plainly to rest. Someone said that you can't see a lot of front lacing on either museum footage or advertisements from the era, and that's for a reason. First of all, most of the museum footage was taken recently, and corsets are not being worn per se, they're being displayed, and you don't want to obstruct the beautiful lines of the corset with lacing, which was just common. And that's the very same reason why on lots of advertisements you don't see the laces, you see the hooks, and occasionally you have some mentioning lacing hook included, but you don't see that because you want to sell the corset, you want to show. And this was so commonplace, you just laced whichever way works best for you. So that's one thing. And very briefly on the second one, because that's another old white man telling me how to wear my chemises and my drawers. So, not sure if you can see, chemises underneath the drawers or the other way around. Again, evidence for both styles, so wear whichever works for you. Really, I prefer to wear chemise over, mostly because if going to the toilet, it's much easier than trying to fish out the chemise first and then do the business and then put the chemise back in again. But whichever works for you. Both are historically correct, and people didn't really worry that much if their chemise and drawers or laced corset is correct or not. There were no internet experts telling them to do so. So yeah, there we go. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any other interesting myths you would like to see busted or sustained, you never know, let me know and we'll see what we can do. Thanks for watching.